Holidays. What is WSU planning for spring 2020?
And which candidate is visiting Pullman this weekend? Murrow News 8 starts now.
From the Northwest Public Broadcasting Studios on the campus of Washington State University, this is Murrow News 8.
Ariel Yacobazi.
And I'm Kylie Gibson. Welcome to Murrow News 8.
Two Pullman Regional Hospital workers have tested positive for COVID-19. According to a hospital release, both employees work in the same department and are now in quarantine. Contact tracing is now in effect, and all staff that came into contact with the pair have been tested for COVID-19. The release clarified the priority of the hospital has been patient and staff safety. Additionally, visitors to the Pullman Regional Hospital will be restricted to all inpatient areas. Whitman County reports 31 new cases of COVID-19 as of Thursday, which brings the total cases to 1,590.
The positivity rate for COVID-19 testing at Pullman Regional Hospital has increased. Over the last 2-week period ending Tuesday, the positivity rate reached 8%, up from the 7% positivity rate recorded from the previous 2-week period. There are 31 new positive tests.
An online forum Saturday between Republican Mary Dye and Libertarian challenger Brett Borden will take place. The two candidates are running for a local Washington State House seat. The forum is hosted by Pullman League of Women's Voters and Pullman Chamber of Commerce. Questions for the candidates must be submitted before the forum, and be sure to deliver those questions by email to the address you see on your screen. The event starts at 4 p.m. tomorrow.
Joshua Freed will visit Pullman Saturday. Republican candidate running for Washington Lieutenant Governor Joshua Freed will be speaking at a public forum hosted by the WSU GOP Club on campus. According to Evan Ellis at Pullman Radio, the Republican write-in candidate will set up a pop-up office in the parking lot at 1220 South Grand Avenue in Pullman Saturday.
The Sunrise
Voting
Movement
taking up
led
a large part in many
making
lives, a variety of issues have come up during this year's election. Murrow News 8 reporter Zygmunt Soroka takes a dive into how voters' issues are being heard in Whitman County. Take a look.
The Sunrise Movement led a march for making younger voters' issues heard on Saturday, October 3rd. Created by Washington State University Junior and Sunrise Movement co-founder Kira Simone, the march will highlight issues that affect younger generations.
We're marching because we're sick of seeing people in power not listening to the youth. Youth votes account for 10% of the voting population, but show up in lower numbers than any other age demographics.
This is one of the biggest elections of our time, and they're looking to convey a message that there needs to be change within the government for younger generations. They want younger voters to come out and vote, which normally they don't do. They have a statement that says, "We deserve a better future."
The 18-year-old who mugged a man on Old Greek Row at the University of Idaho has been sentenced between 5 and 15 years in prison. Samuel Plummer of Moscow was sentenced in Latah County 2nd District Court this week after pleading guilty as charged to felony robbery. Plummer robbed a man at gunpoint of about $60 during the early hours of August 29th.
Washington State University has changed the format of the university writing portfolio, adapting the requirements of the portfolio to better suit students and staff. Murrow News 8 reporter Harrison Laws has more on the story.
Washington State University has changed the format of the university writing portfolio, adapting the requirements of the portfolio to better suit students and staff. The main changes are the implementation of a reflection and the submission of 2 academic texts instead of 3. Additionally, the time writing portion of the portfolio has been removed. Lisa Johnson-Scholl has been working at the WSU Writing Center for 32 years. According to the writing program interim director Lisa Johnson-Scholl, one aspect that led to the change was the emergence of COVID-19. Since students are now unable to be in close proximity, an in-person timed write is not feasible, and an online proctored writing exam would have been too expensive to implement, and the cost would have ended up going to the students, which the staff at the Writing Center did not want. Johnson-Scholl further explained,
and we did this mapping process about what things with the portfolio were causing obstacles for students, what were causing obstacles for advisors. And then through that process, we realized that the writing portfolio had just really gotten unwieldy to the point where it was causing maybe more harm than good, which was never the intention. So the result of the mapping process, as well as the convergence of COVID, and we're like, okay, it's time, let's switch some things up. So those were the two catalysts that motivated us.
She continued.
So just in terms of the transitional moment, I think it really streamlines the process. So for example, students no longer have to get faculty to sign off on the papers they submit. So one of the things that'll really help is students don't have to run around trying to find a faculty member who's going to respond to them in a timely manner. It was the unique case where a faculty member didn't respond in a timely manner, but when they didn't, it was a real problem, right?
Here at WSU, students are required to put together a writing portfolio before they can sign up for their senior year classes. However, that has changed with the stay-at-home orders from the state. The shift in format was put in place to ease the stress of both faculty and students, though some students who have already taken the time writing portion feel the change is unfair. According to Wazoo senior Veronica Powell,
I think it's kind of unfair that they eliminated the timed writing because everyone else had to schedule that out into their lives, and I remember it being really stressful because if you're in extracurriculars or if you're working, you have to find a time slot that's A, not already full, B, works with your schedule. Also, I feel like it's a different skill to be able to write quickly under a time limit versus being able to write an essay that you've had 2 months to do. And I think if they really want an accurate representation of if you're a university level writer or whatever they're trying to gauge, that they should still have 2 different measures of that or they should have a different standard for each piece that you're submitting.
For more information on the prerequisites of the writing program, go to writingprogram.wsu.edu. This has been Harrison Laws, signing off.
WSU's experienced some pretty big changes this semester, but what about next semester? We've got Murrow News 8 reporter Alex Biviano with some more spring updates. Alex, what do you have for us?
Thank you, Ariel. I'm here on campus where spring semester will not happen in person. We're going to get another online set of classes with a few exceptions that will maybe happen, maybe not, coming later. We see, there's no one around me, so I'm going no mask right here. But we see already regulations happening, classes like this one that are in person despite the online regulations. However, we have no idea for next semester. There's no news coming in. However, what we do know is classes are pushed back by 2 weeks. There's no spring break at all. There's randomly dispersed in off days to compensate for spring break. However, the day itself is not there. The week itself is not there. Talking to students here at the Chinook, and no one's happy about it. No one thinks it's a good solution. No one really sees the purpose of it either to not have spring break. Granted, it gives more time for us to adjust to the new classes. However, it is not really a same experience as a spring break would be. You'll also see here that we have adjustments to social distancing. We have staff farther apart. We have even outdoor activities such as the ATMs are now outdoors rather than just indoors because of the fact that we're trying to adjust to online learning where in-person classes will not happen for most students completely. From Murrow News 8, Pullman, Washington, I'm Alex Biviano. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Alex. 7 new cases of coronavirus were confirmed in Latah County on October 15th. This brings the total number of cases in Latah County to 752 since the pandemic began. No one has died from coronavirus in Latah County.
Coming up, guess what is taking a slow and safe approach to be reopened?
And what scared and closed down half of Bishop Boulevard when Murrow News 8 returns.
Days, months.
Hey, I'm Jim from across the street.
Years.
I'd like to give you this.
A lifetime. Can rush by without realizing what we're missing. But it doesn't have to be that way. We have a choice to take action. Visit maketheconnection.net to find out more.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it.
Even with new reopening guidelines available from the Washington governor's office, the Neal Public Library director said she would feel more comfortable opening the public library to the public when there's a lower risk of COVID-19 spread in Whitman County. The library has been closed since the spring because of the pandemic, but has offered curbside service to people wanting to pick up books or other library items.
A fire caused minimal damages to an office attached to a two-story residence Thursday morning at the Moscow Elks Lodge golf course. According to the Moscow Volunteer Fire Department Chief Brian Nickerson, the fire was contained to the enclosed porch area of the office and no injuries were reported.
4 new ballot drop boxes have been installed in Pullman. The new ballot drop boxes are outside the entrance to Dismore's on North Grand Avenue, outside the Chinook at the Washington State University campus, and a second box has been installed to the Henricks Trading Company downtown on Paradise Street. The other ballot drop boxes in Whitman County are outside the Cub at WSU and in the alley behind the elections office in Colfax. A bomb scare closed down Bishop Boulevard Thursday. Suspicious items were placed in front of the Pullman Vehicle Vessel Licensing Office. Nearby businesses in the Crimson Village were evacuated, including those staying across the street at the Holiday Inn. The Spokane Bomb Squad determined the items, PVC and duct tape, were not a threat.
With this year being different than most, how are students at Washington State University getting involved? Murrow News 8 reporter Sydney Gardner has more on the story. Take a look. So it is looking like we're having some technical difficulties. Coming up next, cold breezes and big clouds are coming. Andrew Bartline has more on some weather updates.
Murrow News 8 will be right
back. There was an old woman who lived in a shoe.
Don't worry.
She had so many children she didn't know what to do.
Imagine producing right now.
She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
I'm just now realizing I don't know what I'm saying.
So, I just moved in with his family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Well, fall is officially in full swing, and we've got Andrew Bartline at the weather wall. Andrew, what do you have for us today?
Yeah, thanks, Ariel. So it's actually a really nice October day right now. I was walking up Campus Street earlier, and sun's out. There's a little bit of clouds, but it's looking pretty nice. We can see today we have 11 miles per hour of wind, so it's a little breezy. It's not too bad, though. It actually feels kind of nice with that sun out. We're going to have about 11 hours of daylight as well. You can see our high at 64, our low at 43. And that's going to be a trend that's going to pick up as we move into tomorrow as well. You can see that we're going to hang around in the 60s for a little bit. When we get to the 5-cast later, we're going to see that that's going to settle down as we move later into these fall months. Nonetheless, a low of 42, so it's cooling down a little bit. Not too bad. That breeze as well is taming out just a tad. Not too much difference with our sunrise and sunset. It's still going to be about 11 hours. Moving into the state map, we can see that there's going to be, well, some rain on the other side of the state. Who would have guessed? I did. It rains there, I don't know, 8 months out of the year. So take a guess, flip a coin. 62 is the high in Olympia and 45 is their low. Very similar in Seattle. Their lows are a little bit higher than ours right now, so it's not getting too cold overnight. We can see the middle of the state, though. Yakima's looking great, 72 degrees. They're hanging up in the 70s, last part of the state that's really getting that nice weather. As we can see over Spokane, Pullman area, it's starting to cool down a little bit into the 60s. Looking at the 5-day forecast as well, you can see that tomorrow and the day after, it's starting to cool down a little bit. We're getting into the 50s, and we're going to stay there for what seems like probably the rest of the month nonetheless. It is going to be cloudy. Those winds I mentioned today and tomorrow, 9 miles an hour-ish, that's kind of blowing those clouds across the mountains, rather, and we're sort of getting their weather. That's kind of how the climate works in the state. So those clouds are going to stick around for a little bit. They're going to kind of burn off moving into Wednesday. We need to pay attention to, though, if you have a morning commute. 35 and 33 are going to be your lows. It might get to freezing. So if you're commuting in the morning, you get there last minute like I do, you're going to have to realize that you need to get up a little bit earlier. You're going to have to scrape your car off perhaps. So keep that in mind as things start to cool down a little bit. Our lows getting pretty chilly overnight. Anyway, back to you at the desk. Ariel, Kylie.
Thanks so much, Andrew. All right, coming up, a new sign towards the Chiefs.
Cameron Limes will have your sports when Murrow News 8 returns.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual, and she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you, and we'll figure it out."
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day, I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
Hello and welcome to sports. I am your host, Cameron Limes. The Pac-12 has decided to continue with a 20-game basketball season for men and a 22-game schedule for the women. The Pac-12 released a statement saying, quote, "The conference continues to work on specific schedule models," end quote. More announcements will be made as the schedule is finalized. The WSU basketball team will be sticking with the fundamentals of the game. Coach Kyle Smith said that the team will be working on taking care of the ball, rebounding, and defending effectively. Last year, the team went for a record of 16-16. WSU's defensive back Skylar Thomas has entered the transfer portal. This is the second time that Thomas has entered the transfer portal in the past few months, but on previous occasions he's given a statement on Twitter, but not this time. During a Zoom call with Coach Rolovich on Wednesday, he had this to say about the transfer, quote, "There's no ill will from either side in my opinion. This is a real difficult time for all these kids, and right now we just got to be as supportive as we can with them." It is currently unclear where or when Thomas will be transferred. Last night, the Astros faced off against the Rays. Now take a look at this. Bottom of the ninth, Carlos Correa steps up to the plate and absolutely bombs it over the wall for a walk-off run to keep the Astros season alive in the playoffs. Absolutely beautiful there. Powerhouse teams will be kicking off tomorrow as Georgia will be facing off against Alabama. Both of these teams are currently 3-0. The stadium will be allowing fans in the stands at 20% capacity. The game will kick off tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. Next up, who donated over $1,000 to the Habitat for Humanity?
Murrow News 8 will be right back.
You're looking at me in the future. Okay. Hi, Isaac.
Hi.
Wait a second.
Do you know who I am?
Julia.
This is Jaina. Into the future. I just wanted to talk to you about what happened with those two girls.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember it was this girl that I was getting bullied by that one day at PE when they were like yelling at me, and then you just linked arms with me? I don't think you know how much like that helped me, because like I finally like knew that I had somebody. Because of you, Isaac, and what you did for me years ago, I grew up to be more independent and love myself and just be a little bit more confident.
Aw, I'm like a little tearing up right now. Just to see her in the future just blossom and look beautiful, and that was really amazing.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Hey guys, today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Give kisses. Give kisses. Look. Give kisses. Give kisses. You heard how loud that was.
I know, I
sleep
heard.
through that.
I heard. It wasn't you. It was the...
Is that bacon?
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Bacon.
Girl Scout Troop 3210 in Pullman donated over $1,000 to the Palouse Habitat for Humanity to purchase a garage door for their Habitat home currently under construction in Uniontown. This January, the troop decided to give their cookie proceeds to Habitat for Humanity. Troop 3210 will formally present the garage door to Habitat on Saturday, October 24th at 1 p.m. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, the event is not open to the public, but there will be a live ribbon cutting. Celebration at 1:15 p.m. on the Girl Scouts Facebook page.
All right, we'll be right back with Murrow News 8.
Days, months,
Hey, I'm Jim from across the street.
years,
I'd like to give you this.
a lifetime can rush by without realizing what we're missing. But it doesn't have to be that way. We have a choice to take action. Visit maketheconnection.net to find out more.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop.
So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it.
Welcome back. Today is National Take Your Parents to Lunch Day. Kylie, where do you think you would take your parents on a college budget?
You know, that's a good question. I think if I were here in Pullman, I would probably take them to out to pizza at Porchlight, since that's both of their favorite spots. But at home, I might treat them a little to something a little more high class. What about you?
I think if I was in Pullman, I would go to this really good taco truck downtown. I can't remember the name of it, but it is so good. And I take them out on Taco Tuesday because the tacos are nice and cheap and they're so good. And their horchata, ooh, so good. So I take them there. And if I was back home, there's this place called Mama Stortini's. I'd take them out to a fancy Italian lunch with mozzarella sticks, chicken Alfredo, all the goods. Yeah, I don't even know what I would spend my money on, but because I don't have any money because we're college students.
Yes,
but
correct.
that's okay.
Yes.
That's okay. All right, thanks for watching. If you missed anything in this newscast or any of our previous newscasts, you can always watch us on our YouTube channel.
More news can be found at nwpb.org/mn8, and you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Have a good night.